got work to do.
There's a storm coming in.
Hello YouTube and people of the interwebs. Welcome back to another Doctor Who theory video. I don't know, but I think I may have figured out a rough outline for the plot of our huge two-part season finale, The Legend of Ruby Sunday and the Empire of Death. So stick with me as we go through a little theory time of why I believe that Sutekh the Destroyer, the villain from the Tom Baker story Pyramids of Mars, may be making a return in season 1. And there's a whole host of other little theories sprinkled in here. Also, just going to quickly ask, if you aren't already, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out a lot. If you are subscribed, why not hit the notification bell? It'll allow you to keep up to date with all of these Doctor Who videos coming your way. It also allows me to keep YouTube as my part-time job, which I really appreciate, so thank you very much everyone who's already subscribed. Anyway, first piece of evidence is the weakest piece of evidence, so we'll work up to the better evidence, but look at the posters for season 1. This weird little colourful pattern behind all of our characters seems vaguely familiar. Does it not look like the time corridor tunnel thing from the Pyramids of Mars that Sutekh and the Doctor get pushed through? A similar sort of idea. Maybe that was in the branding team's mind, maybe it's a subtle clue. We know that Russell T Davies loves to leave little hints and tricks all around, so yeah, weak piece of evidence, but we'll get the ball rolling. Now, in the giggle, the Toymaker mentions that the only one he was ever scared to face was the one who waits. Sutekh, at the end of Pyramids of Mars, spoilers if you haven't seen it, was left waiting in the corridor of eternity for, well, eternity. So maybe the one who waits is Sutekh, who's been waiting and waiting and waiting, but how does he get out of this corridor of eternity? What has this waiting been for? What's he waiting for? Well, I think it's no coincidence that very, very recently, in the 60th anniversary special episode Wild Blue Yonder, the 14th Doctor could have unleashed Omega. Not Omega, wrong god. Oh, how I'd love it to be Omega. But we'll stop getting distracted. When the 14th Doctor sprinkled the salt at the edge of the universe in Wild Blue Yonder, it was said that that act allowed superstition into our universe. It allowed in gods like the Toymaker, mythical things like Maestro. So who's to say a god like Sutekh, an ancient Egyptian god, wouldn't also have had a little bit of wriggle room to escape this corridor of eternity? Alternatively, maybe he's been using someone like Susan Triad to help him escape. And I suppose the last time we saw him was 1970, around the 1970s. So the character itself has also been waiting a long time. There's a lot of waiting going on. Maybe the one who waits. Also, if we look at the teaser trailer, this looks scary. This is demonic. This is Susan Triad in a sort of creepy godlike form, kind of maybe resembling Sutekh's mask when it glitches. There's also pyramids behind her. Like, come on. The Pyramids of Mars. She maybe is on Mars. Also, in the trailer, we've seen a swarm of dust coming into... Well, actually, it says sand in the trailer, but sand sweeping through the city with the Doctor and Mel racing away from it on a moped. Is that sand and dust what Sutekh threatens to turn the universe into? We've also seen those shots from the trailer where planets are turning to dust. Sutekh threatens, in the Pyramids of Mars, to turn the universe into dust. His gift is the gift of death. It's also worth noting that in the Pyramids of Mars, Sutekh has the power to sort of send a projection to the TARDIS. He can kind of meddle with the TARDIS, and towards the end of the story, he tries to steal the TARDIS key. That he wants the TARDIS for something. He wants the meddling. He's involved in the TARDIS, and Russell T Davies has made sure to make reference to the fact that something is going wrong with the TARDIS throughout season 1. There hasn't been a normal landing, really. It doesn't materialise in and out like it used to. It's flying through walls, it's crashing into units, it's doing all of that extra stuff, which may be because of the Disney budget, but also maybe the sparks glass flying off the TARDIS in the opening titles has something to do with the fact that Sutekh is using or abusing the TARDIS in some way to escape from that time corridor. Maybe he's making the TARDIS have human form, or take the form of a mortal being, i.e. Susan Triad. S-Triad spells out TARDIS. It's an anagram of TARDIS, and it's seen in Unit HQ from one of the first trailers. The TARDIS is being scanned, and behind it, it says S-Triad Technology, Red Alert, which implies something is going wrong with the TARDIS. In The Devil's Cord as well, we have that moment where the Doctor's like, oh, something's going wrong with the TARDIS. It's not the doing of Maestro, but we'll come back to that. There's a lot of things adding up. Speaking of TARDIS, it's also worth noting that we've now had official confirmation that Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson will be starring in an extra episode of Tales of the TARDIS, coming to BBC iPlayer and BBC4 on the 20th of June. So right before our final part of the season finale, we're getting a Tales of the TARDIS. Now, I think this story is going to be a cut-down version of the Pyramids of Mars. Obviously, Sarah Jane Smith, Elizabeth Sladen, wouldn't be able to appear in this episode due to her tragic passing away in 2011. Also, it's unlikely that Tom Baker would be able to return. He's very old now and probably has better things to be doing with his life. So maybe the Doctor and Ruby are in the memory TARDIS, which we know makes an appearance in the season 1 finale because we've seen it in the trailer. Maybe the cliffhanger to episode 1 of the season finale is the Doctor and Ruby in the memory TARDIS, and the Doctor tells her about his first fight with Sutekh, and you get the Pyramids of Mars there. It's interesting though because the runtime is 75 minutes, which is shorter than all 4 parts of the Pyramids of Mars, but maybe in a similar vein to what they did with the Daleks in colour, they've slightly chopped down the episode and removed some of the more pointless scenes. Sorry if this is sacrilege to classic Who fans, but hopefully they've cut out the pointless sort of puzzles and traps that they do at the end of the 4th part, because they're really bizarre. Like, when they get trapped in that transparent tube thing, like, it's cool, it shows the Doctor's clever when he works out how to get out, but also, do we need that in the story? Probably not. So yeah, I think that story is going to be Pyramids of Mars, because also the 4th Doctor didn't get an original Tales of the TARDIS back in November, so it makes sense for that to celebrate the 4th Doctor's era. I think Susan Triad's character could also be being used and manipulated like Scarman was in the Pyramids of Mars. She's almost his forebear, his person that comes and is being possessed and does all these creepy things. Also, triangle pyramids. I feel like a right conspiracy theorist here, but there's something in it. Triad, 3-point technology, triangles, pyramids. She is his servant, allowing him through into our universe. Also, how does Ruby tie into all of this? I mean, the legend of Ruby Sunday, it sounds like a TV show thing. Is there TV show theming? Is she somehow related to Sutekh or a creation of Sutekh? Maestro says when Ruby's Forbidden song starts playing in The Devil's Cord that the Ancient One was there at her birth. Let's assume for now, because of the rest of the theory, that the Ancient One is Omega, not Omega. I keep saying that, Sutekh. I'm trying to will it into existence like Omega wills himself into existence. Or like how Ruby keeps willing things into existence, showing her godlike qualities. In Space Babies, she says, oh, like Star Trek, and suddenly Susan Twist's character looks and wears a uniform similar to that of people in Star Trek. In The Devil's Cord, she mentions Strictly Come Dancing, and would you have guessed it, but 2 people from Strictly Come Dancing show up at the end of the episode. Even episodes like this week's Rogue, where Ruby loves the show Bridgerton, they happen to go back in time and find basically a Bridgerton episode for them. Maybe Ruby is the god of stories, something like that. Maybe she is an offspring of Sutekh, who was there, the Ancient One, at her birth. Maybe the memory TARDIS plays into all of this, and I don't know. That's all I've got for you. But who knows? They're just some theories. Let me know your theories in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
There's a twist at the